I hope you guys are ready because obviously not financial advice, but I think Tesla's gonna crash for the last time before we soar up. Let me explain. If you guys have followed me on Twitter, you guys already know because I just posted it exactly in 4 points why I believe that, and this is what I think for the next 6 months or so. So if you guys aren't following me there, then I have no idea what you guys are doing. So follow me on Twitter so you guys can get the news ASAP. But obviously I'll do a video about it because I just love making videos, man. And I love it. I love making videos. All right, so let's get down to it. Before we get into it, man, have you hit that like button? Is that like button smashed? Come on, man. And have you subscribed yet? Come on, man. Let's go. So on Twitter or X, I put Tesla stock will crash for the last time and then soar. Here's my reasoning. Reason number one, more vehicle gross margin cuts. Tesla recently cut prices on the SNX and full self-driving from 15,000 to 12,000, which was a shock to me because Elon Musk did say that even at 15,000 for the value that you're getting, it's pretty darn cheap. But they reduced the prices here. Now, this is bullish because this is pretty much 50-60% margin for Tesla. So more vehicles can get access to the FSD, means more data for Tesla, means sooner FSD will get solved, means sooner they can do the over-the-air update to all the Teslas around the world, and bam, one of the biggest valuations increase in any history of any company will happen to Tesla because now you'll have a whole bunch of robots or Teslas that can do full self-driving, which is $200 a month, and you have millions of these customers opting it all around the world, which would be a massive boost. As he said before, these numbers that we see today are going to be silly compared to what the autonomy is going to do to the revenue and profits. But moving forward, although this isn't much of a bad news because now we will have more sales of the higher margin products, but Wall Street will see this as Tesla is lacking demand and competition is now finally coming. Probably all over themselves. Shout out to Stephen Mark Ryan for that. That's number one. Number two, disappointing Q3 delivery numbers. I recently made a video predicting Tesla's Q3 production and delivery numbers and concluded with over 484,000 vehicle deliveries in Q3. However, though, I got a lot of responses that Giga Berlin and Texas are not even producing at their capacity of 5,000 a week. If this is true, then my 484,000 is not realistic at all. And if it isn't, then Tesla will get punished for it. Guys, if you guys haven't watched that video, Q3 updated video, check it out over here. But I'm under the impression that Berlin and Texas are reaching their 5,000, pumping as many vehicles as they can. But I got a lot of comments in my DMs and even on X as well saying things like Berlin or Texas is not even at their 5,000 capacity in production. That is a bad sheesh moment, and if that's actually true, well then that's not gonna be really good for Q3. My 484,000 is not realistic at all, which is why you guys should take everything with a grain of salt of what I do or anyone that does, because nobody really knows what's going on until they actually report it, which is end of this month or the first couple of days of October. We'll know what Q3 delivery numbers will be. It's going to be a very, very interesting time. Now, I do have to give a big shout out to Troy Tesla. He looks at these production numbers with an eagle eye. His production numbers are pretty decent to look at, and he's predicting for Q3 to have delivery numbers of 452,000 and for Q4 of 463,000 almost, which is absolutely a sheesh moment, going over the 1.8 million as you guys can see in his chart here. But nonetheless, let's take it to the chart here and let's see what the stock price would be, because I want to see what the worst case scenario would be. So 452,000, which would be absolutely insane if that happens. We go from 26.5 billion revenue and 3.5 net income non-GAAP to 25 billion and just over 3.1, almost reaching $3.2 billion. But the stock price with an 82 PE, we went from 280 to 275. Now, obviously, 452 deliveries is not good. PE will drop for sure. And I'm going to say up down to 75, maybe even down to 70 to 234 bucks per share. This is a realistic case if they do 452,000. Obviously, I'm not changing the vehicle gross profits or even the average selling prices. These numbers could be lower too. So let's even put 65 just to be safe, I guess, or even 60, 218, 60 to 201 bucks. Potentially, this could be the crash for the last time in Q3 before we go back up. But here's the thing. He's saying in Q4 of 462.5, let's say 463. Stock price right now is at that time with a 90 PE is almost 300. If we reduce that to 463, oh God, look at that, 284. I mean, just look at the revenue and profits, how that took a hit as well. I mean, if that's the case, 90 PE does not make sense at that time. 80 PE, maybe even a 75, 70 PE down as 220. I think we're going to stay stagnant if that's the case. But because we are forward looking, we can probably be in the 75, 80s for some time until Q1. We get the Cybertruck, the Highland, and demand will slowly come back up. And then Q2, Q3, Q4, there'll be better quarters. But that's what Troy is saying, and it's absolutely a sheesh moment. And again, if Troy's number does actually become true, then definitely Tesla stock will get punished, just as we just saw. So that's number two. Disappointing Q3 delivery numbers and most likely earnings as well, even though it's going to be a record regardless of what it is. Number 3, it's unlikely this will happen, but Fed increasing interest rates for the last time. Elon has mentioned time and time again that when interest rates go higher, they are forced to lower prices. Lowering prices means less margins and lower the stock price in the short term, because Wall Street will go like,
that's a car company, man. Look at that. It's just a car company reducing prices almost the same as Ford and GM and all those other guys.
Ignoring the actual facts, but that's Wall Street. They care about 6 to 12 months, not 5 years like how we long-term investors do. But again, this is unlikely. I highly doubt Fed will increase interest rates. Things are really bad as it is now. I don't know. They said they'll do it again for another 2 more times until something happens. But anyway, that's number 3, which leads to number 4. If interest rates do go up or stays the same, there is no reason to bring down until something breaks. This means we have to go through a recession in order for the Fed to bring down rates. Otherwise, they'll stay high for a long time. And I keep saying this, if there's no reason to bring the interest rates down, why bring them down? Everything is good. Inflation is at 2%. If we bring them down, inflation will probably go back to 3-4%. So we have to wait for something to break. And unfortunately, it has to be a recession. We have to go to below 0. We have to go to deflation. And it's not like, pre-indicators. We have to actually be in it in a terrible time, in a recession time, in a deflation time to get into a recession for the Feds to immediately cut rates. That's just how it works. That's economy. And the crash could be a big one, could be a small one, depending how they react. Unfortunately, Feds, government interest rates, whatever, they are not proactive. They are reactive. And with the reactive government, there's something bad to happen. It's happened in history. Goldman Sachs recently reduced their recession or soft landing in the US down to 15%. So that's good news. But still, they're going to continue these rates high up. Things it's tough out there. You went from almost a 0% interest rate to now 5-6%. Some people are getting 7% interest rates. It's not an easy time. It's a tough time, and I'm afraid something has to break in order we'll see lower interest rates. The question is, will you be ready? That is the only question, because we know after that recession comes, interest rates get cut. We know what happens after that. That's all I'm going to say. So that's what I think. Those are my 4 points. After that, I expect all this to happen within the next 6 months. After that, we should go through the worst of it unless we get into another black swan event. Knock on wood, we don't get into another black swan event. But if no black swan event, we should be in a nasty bull market, and it's going to be a nasty, violent, ruthless bull market. And the only question I got for you guys is, will you be ready to take advantage when we go into that recession, when Tesla stock dips for the last time? That's all I gotta say. 6 months time, I'm sure sometime after that, it'll be much better. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be rainbows and sunshines. It's gonna be a much better place. I hope. I really do hope so, even though that ain't a strategy. But I do stand by these 4 rules, or not rules, these 4 points that I made. I think they do make sense. They may not even play at all, but based on how things are going, again, number 3, which was the Fed increase, was unlikely, but it could happen. But hey, if it does happen and if the stock does crash, well, guess what? You guys can get these shirts that says you bought the dip, and now it's going to be here, or the mug, or the t-shirts, whatever it is. You guys can get that 10% off Rip Bears. It's a way to support me, and it's a nice t-shirt, very comfortable t-shirt. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see about Q3 and the detail how I went through it, you guys can check it out over here. Again, don't forget to buy the dip shirt or the dollar cost averaging shirt, whatever. It's a whole bunch of merch. Just go scroll through it, and you'll see. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.